you are the person who's in charge of your fate. So what's it going to be? It's unfortunate when people stay in a lane that they never chose. That's what's really sad. And it happens to so many of us, and it happens so often. And people are oftentimes just allowing their dreams to die. And to the point where people don't even know what their dreams are. They don't know what makes them happier. They don't know what keeps them at peace.
Hey, this is Raina Campbell, your Chief Dream Driver, and welcome to the No Parking Podcast, where through conversations and discussions with creators like yourself, we'll find interesting approaches to help you take your dreams out of park, put them in drive, and ride towards success. Hey Dream Drivers, welcome to episode 119 of the Dreams and Drive podcast. And on today's episode, we are going to be speaking with Melissa Butler, founder of The Lip Bar. But before we get into today's episode, make sure to put on your to-do list, if you haven't already, go back and listen to episode 118 with Aaliyah Janelle. It was so inspiring to hear her share her story of growing her signature heels dance class, Queens and Letos, and also share what it takes to find true happiness when building your brand. And on today's episode, you're going to hear about how Melissa was able to go from licensed stockbroker to beauty entrepreneur. And for me, what I really love about Melissa's story is how it started from a frustration, right? She was frustrated with the industry, and therefore she went looking for a solution. And that's something that we all can imitate in our own businesses, right? What's the frustration that you can help solve? That is a key question to ask. How can you take someone's frustration and give them a solution? Some of the other things that we discussed in this episode is why Melissa was so unhappy in her high-paying New York City finance job, how she was able to finance the Lip Bar because it definitely is not cheap to do all these manufacturing runs and packaging and all that stuff. We talk about the real reason why the Lip Bar's Shark Tank rejection was an actual win. So yes, Melissa was on Shark Tank, and you'll hear all about that in the episode. And finally, why you have to step out on faith sometimes and believe in yourself. You can't let your dreams die. So that's something that I hope that you all take away from this episode. No matter what, don't give up on yourself or your dreams. And if you aren't already following us on social, we are Dreams and Drive across the board on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. And you guys are going to love this, but we are doing a giveaway with Melissa and the Lip Bar. We're going to be giving away one of their signature lipstick colors, Merlot. So if you want to enter to win Merlot, just go to dreamsanddrive.com/win. That's dreamsanddrive.com/win. This giveaway will run for a week. So don't even say, hey, I'm going to do it later. I'm going to do it tomorrow. Now, just pause this right now. Go to dreamsanddrive.com/win, enter, and then get back to listening. And if you want to help us out this week, I love it when you guys share on Instagram stories that you're listening to episodes. So all you have to do is screenshot this right now if you're listening on your phone and just upload it to your Instagram stories. Tag Dreams and Drive. Use the hashtag Dreams and Drive. It's a great way for other people to learn about the podcast. And it's just a great way to just spread the message, right? And pay it forward to someone who might want to hear today's episode. As always, our show notes are available at dreamsanddrive.com. Just click on episode 119 for access to our tweetables, our resource links, and all that good stuff. All right, let's get into today's episode. Hi, Melissa. Welcome to this episode of Dreams and Drive. I'm so excited to have you on today.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it.
I feel like it's been a theme on the show recently. A lot of guests that I've had, including Kiara Boone and Tiffany Gatlin, have all been people that I've met when I was at Christina Brown's Brown Girls Love Power Day earlier this year, and you were also there. So I'm like, the pattern is continuing. The Power Day guests coming on the show.
Absolutely. I mean, honestly, you surround yourself with great people. You end up going to great events, and then you end up, continuously networking. So I think that's normal. I think that's how things always kind of happen, and that's how the universe works.
That's so true. So I love to start our interviews off asking our guests to take a step back into time. If I had to say who was Melissa, the 8-year-old, the 9-year-old, how would you describe yourself? Like, what was inspiring you back then?
I don't know what was inspiring me, but I've always been like a smart mouthed little girl who thought she knew everything. That didn't change. It's just like little girl changes into woman. And now I can actually justify I can actually justify and reason and use proper logic to explain why I think I know everything. But I've always been that girl who kind of knew what she wanted and didn't really settle for anything less. So like when I was 12, I stopped eating beef and pork, not because my mom told me to, but I read an article that said it clogged your arteries. So I came home and was like, Mom, we can't eat beef and pork anymore. And she's like, what? Because at that time, pork chops were my favorite food. So she made pork chops and I didn't eat them, just being a little rebel. And then I stuck to it just to say like, oh, you're testing me kind of thing. So like, I've always been that person, like, to say like, oh, I know who I am. I know what I want. I kind of like I said what I said. So that's been me. So I don't know at what year it started, but I know at 12 for sure I was in that place. So I'm sure at 8 I was, slowly developing, more confidence to be able to speak to who I was.
Did you, do you still not eat pork and beef?
No. And since then I've cut out chicken and turkey. So I'm a pescatarian, but I'm very selective with the fish that I eat. So I don't eat tilapia. I don't eat catfish. I don't eat codfish. I don't eat mahi-mahi. I don't eat shrimp.
Oh my gosh, those are all my shrimp is my favorite out of all that. And I love like my lobster and my crab and all that other stuff too.
I eat lobster and crab and salmon and sea bass and red snapper.
So what was the dream back then? What did you think the big Melissa was going to be like?
I wanted to do so many things, everything from being a heart surgeon to being a sports agent. Literally everything. I was interested in so many things, to being a fashion designer, to making purses. So the dream changed often. And even still to this day, the dream changes often. I'm interested in tons of things and I don't like being put in a little box of, this is what I'm supposed to be. Or this is what the world is telling me that I should go into based on either my looks or this skill set or even what I've been doing.
That's something that we all kind of struggle with, right? Because that's all. There's always this societal pressure for us to be what they want us to be, in the words of DJ Khaled, right?
Yeah, absolutely. The world is always telling you and pointing you in some specific direction, and it's just like you don't have to follow that. You don't have to pick one lane and stay in it. Like you can swerve all up and down 75. Like let's be clear. And so like, it's unfortunate when people like stay in a lane that they never chose. And that's what's sad. That's what's really sad. And it happens to so many of us and it happens so often. And people are oftentimes just allowing their dreams to die. And to the point where people don't even know what their dreams are. They don't know what makes them happy, or they don't know what keeps them at peace. Or they don't know what excites them.
So let's fast forward a little bit. So what did you go for college? What did you go to college for? And then how did you end up on Wall Street?
I went to FAMU, which changed my life. I love that university with my whole heart and soul. And I went there to study business marketing. So when I got there, I thought that I wanted to be a sports agent. Then I quickly realized that I didn't want to go to law school. And that probably wasn't for me. So then my mindset shifted to just like, I just want to make money. I want to make money. So I want to go into whatever field is going to make me the most money. And so FAMU has an amazing business program and it's super competitive. And it's the type of school where your counselors and your advisors are sharing like, well, such and such got an offer from Procter & Gamble for $110,000 coming out. And so like it creates this environment of excellence. And so you then become like this person who wants to ask the good questions in forum. You want to be that person who gets the good job offer. You want to be that person who like nails that presentation. And so for me, I wanted to do all of those things. I wanted to put my best foot forward. So when I was at FAMU, I studied abroad. I went to China. I lived in China for 6 months. I learned Mandarin. I did an internship at the hospital in the finance department. And I started learning more about finance. I decided that, wait, people on Wall Street make a shit ton of money. I don't know if I'm supposed to curse, but I have
you can.
I'm a potty mouth.
It's all right.
I dropped the F-bomb too often.
It's fine. It's fine.
But I'm like, they make a lot of money, and it sounds like it's something that's super, super exciting. Like there are no mundane days. And so I decided to go into business finance. And if you're going to do finance, you're going to move to New York. New York is the finance capital. So I moved to New York. I worked for Barclays. This is at the height of the crash. It's a miracle that I even got a job in 2009, but I was, again, I had just come from studying abroad in China. So I was extremely marketable. It's like, wait, this young Black girl knows how to speak Mandarin Chinese. And I don't really use it now, so I'm sure I've lost it. But at the time, like, I'm writing Chinese characters in books.
What? You could write it too?
Yeah, absolutely.
Wow.
I mean, if you live anywhere for 6 months, you become so ingrained with that culture that it becomes you. So I'm not really speaking English. I'm speaking Mandarin because I have to get by. Yeah, I moved to New York. I worked on Wall Street, and then I got there and I realized, wait, I don't like this. And none of my peers or my managers, none of them like it.
What didn't you like about it?
Barclays had just bought Lehman Brothers, who crashed. And so they also bought all of their employees, like 10,000 employees. So these people come from a completely different culture. Barclays is a British bank, and they hated it. They absolutely hated it. And I just looked around and I was like, I don't want this to be my future. And I also came from a family of entrepreneurs. I grew up watching what I didn't know at the time was my cousin be a serial entrepreneur. And so I was always fascinated with that. I grew up in high school working in his stores at the mall. And like, it was the coolest thing. Like my cousin has a store at the best mall in the city. Like, that's awesome. And
where did you grow up? Just to give our listeners
So I'm from Detroit.
Okay.
And my cousin, he owned a throwback jersey store. Do you remember when throwbacks were like the hottest thing
ever? Yes, and jersey
ever?
dresses. I remember I always wanted a jersey dress. And my dad always got me the knockoffs. He didn't get me the real thing.
So yeah, he owned a store in the mall selling throwback jerseys. And like, he was going back and forth to China and having meetings with Mitchell and Ness and all of this cool stuff. And I'm like, wait, he's doing this. And so like, it's that type of exposure and representation that kids need to understand that they can actually do whatever it is that they wanted. So I'm in New York working for Barclays, disliking it very much, understanding that my coworkers also hated their lives. And I was just like, this can't be me. Like, I don't want to see myself here in 20 years. So I was like, I'm going to start a business. I had no idea what business I was going to start. I'm not passionate about makeup. I tell people that all the time. But the reason the Lip Bar continues to grow is because I'm passionate about challenging the beauty standard and really, truly creating a different mindset, particularly for women of color, that says like, you're enough. You don't have to look like this certain thing in order to be considered beautiful. I'm in New York. I hate my job and I don't really know what I'm good at. I'm not necessarily good at anything. This is what I was telling myself. Like, oh yeah, I like shoes, but I can't be a shoe designer. I can't even draw. So I'm going through all these different thoughts. Like, what can I do? If I leave this job, then what? Because this is my security. My mom thinks I'm crazy for wanting to quit. She's like, how are you going to survive? Like, are you going to move back home with me? And I'm like, no, it'll be fine. So I ended up making lipstick basically on accident. So first I was making soap. And the lips are completely...
Or just for fun?
No, to sell. So the thing I landed on was soap. So I was obsessed with these handmade soaps that I would buy for like $6 or $7 a bar. I would be in Harlem on 125th buying Nubian Heritage, which is owned by Sundial, which is the parent company to Shea Moisture, if you don't know. So, and I actually had a meeting with Rich Lou Dennis, the CEO of Shea Moisture. And when we talked, I was just like, I just need you to know that you're way more influential in the Lip Bar than you know. If I weren't buying your soaps on 125th Street in Harlem, the Lip Bar would have never happened, because I was making soaps in my kitchen. And then I called a vendor looking for soap pigments. And he was like, wait, are you looking for lipstick pigments or soap pigments? I didn't even know I could buy lipstick pigments. And so I immediately flipped the switch like, oh, I'm buying lipstick pigments. I didn't know how to make lipstick. I didn't really know anything about the chemical composition of lipstick, but I loved lipstick. I had probably 25 colors of different brands, like, on my dresser. But also, I was, again, that more natural person. So at that time, I stopped eating chicken and turkey. And that really started out as like a fast. It was a 40-day fast that I did for Lent. And I'm not Catholic. I'm not even religious. But I felt like I should sacrifice something. So I gave all that stuff up and I started taking a closer look at all the products that I was eating, using on my body. When it came to lipstick, it was like impossible to find like something more natural. If it was natural, it was like horrible colors. It was like for your mom kind of thing. So when he said lipstick pigments, I was just like, oh shit, I can make lipstick. So
were you selling the soaps at this point, or were you just kind of trying to sell the soaps?
I was trying to sell the soaps. I was like selling it to like family and friends because those are always your first customers.
So then you were like, all right, screw the soaps. I'm about to do lipstick.
Yeah, absolutely.
Wow. So how did you then, he said that, okay, do you want to get lipstick pigments? You said yes. So you ordered lipstick pigments, or what happened next?
I was calling for soap pigments. He asked the question if I wanted lipstick pigments, and he completely changed my business model. I immediately ordered lipstick pigments. Immediately. I got the pigments. And then I started reading books on cosmetic chemistry. I stalked a cosmetic chemist. I was watching YouTube videos on how to make lipstick, how to make lip balm, lip gloss. Like, I devoured every piece of information I could find out on lipstick. Reading the back of ingredients, understanding that most of it was chock full of unnecessary chemicals, and that I just didn't really want to ingest that. So that's what kind of kick-started it. Like, wait, why is all this shit in lipstick?
So how long did it take you to go from ideation to actually having your first sample ready for sale to the public?
Probably a year and a half. The night before the Lip Bar launch, I was making lipstick in my kitchen.
Wow.
Like, I didn't sleep. Our launch party was in New York, and I think I went to bed at 7 a.m. from making lipstick. So I was still doing stuff up until the day we launched.
And thinking about just the business aspects, because although you had been around entrepreneurs, did you have the business skills needed to get a business up and running? What was that process like for you? So
for me, that's always come pretty naturally.
Okay.
I'm super analytical and I'm a numbers girl. So the business part was, because I'm an Aries. And I don't know how much you follow with zodiacs, but Aries are fire starters. They're risk takers. So once I had the idea in my head, I was willing to do anything and everything to execute it, to figure out the information. So, I mean, of course, there was a learning curve because I had never been a business owner before, but that didn't matter to me. It was just like something else I had to do.
Do you remember your biggest challenge in those early days, getting everything up and running?
Yeah, becoming a cosmetic chemist. I knew nothing about lipstick. I knew nothing about the science of cosmetics. That was the biggest part. And I mean, I still messed up tons of times. I burnt my finger. I ruined my mom's kitchen. I caused an explosion.
Oh my God. I was going to ask you, like, where were you making the lipsticks? Do you need to have a special type of setup to make it happen?
I was making it all in my kitchen. In everyone's kitchen, in anyone's kitchen who would let me. I was testing it on all of my friends. And I mean, let's be clear, the first 100 batches were shit. They were horrible. So it's like, oh, Melissa, my lips are peeling, or this is dry, or this doesn't feel good, or the lipstick would actually be super pink, but when you put it on, there's no color coming up. So all of that was a learning curve, but it was exciting. I mean, that's the best part of starting a business, when you're like in the thick of it, not when you're bigger and everybody just wants something from you. That's annoying.
Were you still working the finance job at this point?
I worked both. I don't know how, but I worked both for the first 2 years of the Lip Bar being open. And I didn't stop my finance job because the Lip Bar was making so much money. I stopped it because I figured if I want my business to give me 100%, I have to give it 100%.
Ooh, so I definitely want to get to that. I think that's something that a lot of dream drivers, right? Like a lot of us have these dreams, but we're afraid to take the leap, right? And to get into the driver's seat. What would you say to that person who's kind of hesitating or moving forward with their dream?
The first thing is you want to make sure that you're ready. Mm-hmm. Now, ready doesn't mean perfect, but ready means you actually want to do as much research as possible. You want to test it. You want to do focus groups. You want to make sure that your business is capable of standing up. Like, you need to basically troubleshoot everything before, because when it actually happens, you're still going to fuck up. Things are still going to go wrong. So you don't want to have things that are going to potentially get in the way that you could have prevented early on. So that's the first thing. Do your homework. Don't rush the process. And then after that, when you feel like you've done your best, you literally just have to believe in it. So people who aren't willing to step out on faith, they don't believe in it either themselves or their dreams. And that's just the reality. So you have to think about it in a way of what's holding me back, or why am I holding myself back? What am I missing? And whatever it is that you think is missing, I mean, it could be valid. Go after it, get it. And once you get it, like, start.
That's the thing. A lot of people are just stuck in this, like, thinking about starting phase. Like, nothing will ever happen if you don't actually just put the action in and do it. And I think,
just put it out there.
Mm-hmm.
The universe will tell you. People will tell you. Social media will tell you. People are bullying people every damn day. They will tell you, like, this not working, sis.
One thing that a lot of our listeners often talk about and ask questions about is the idea of financing, right? Launching a lipstick company or a beauty company, I would imagine, I haven't done it before, is not, it's not a low overhead. There's a lot of things, a lot of money that has to go into it. How did you finance the Lip Bar in the beginning and, continue to make sure you were making smart financial decisions?
Yeah, I mean, it could be cheap. A lot of people, like a lot of celebrities who have lipstick lines, they're all private label. So they're just going all to the same labs, and they're just picking their colors, and they're picking their packaging, and, placing very low minimum orders. So you can do that. And then eventually, if you want, you can grow out of that and go to something what's called contract manufacturing. So the Lip Bar went from me making it to when we actually had to outsource because we were growing, straight to contract manufacturing, which is expensive as hell. Because, I mean, lipstick is very different from hair care, where you just need a couple of products, where you just have like 4 or 6 products and like you can thrive off of that. Mm-hmm. Right now, the Lip Bar sells like 40 different lip colors. So with that being said, each of our products has a minimum order quantity of 3,000 units per color.
You should see my face right now.
And my packaging, like, I own my packaging. I own the rights to my packaging. I actually need to sue a girl who's using it. But, like, I have a trademark on my packaging. So I got this packaging tool in China. So that was money, too. So, yeah, it was extremely expensive. But this was the point of me going to college and getting all these student loans that I'm not paying right now, just so that I could have the money to finance my dream. So that's another reason I waited a full 2 years of working the Lip Bar before I quit my job so that I could be financially ready. So I financed the Lip Bar fully. I mean, the Lip Bar is still financing itself. We've never taken on any investors. We're just bootstrapping.
Have you ever thought about working with investors? And if so, what was your thought process about why not?
Totally. But I wanted to, so I know, and you'll probably talk about this, but you shouldn't because everybody talks about it. So we went on Shark Tank. Mm-hmm. We didn't get a deal on Shark Tank, but it was awesome because we got so much exposure. So when we went on Shark Tank, for us, it wasn't about the money. It was about, this is our chance to get in front of 7 million people. So we were like, okay, we have to do our best to make sure the episode actually gets aired. Everyone who goes on Shark Tank, your episode doesn't get aired. It's a matter of, yeah. I mean, every year they probably film 500 different businesses. Only about 150 make it to air. If you're not good for TV, you're not going on air. So we were actually extremely good for TV. and they've re-aired our episode 12 times.
What made you guys good for TV? Like, why do you think they chose you guys to go on?
Because we're young, we're cute, we're Black. They have a diversity issue. Our business is something that is very easily digested. You know, it's lipstick. Everyone knows it. It doesn't have to be explained in a big way. There's not a lot of education involved. So I think it's something that the American people could latch on.
One of the things that I don't want to go too in depth because I feel like that story, as you were saying, the Shark Tank story has definitely been talked about a lot. But I think one of the things that I took away from that is you have to really know your vision and your mission, right? Something you said before. And was it Kevin, the one who called you guys like clown makeup or something? And
yeah.
It's like you guys could have went home and said, "Oh my God, they hate it. I'm not doing this anymore." But you didn't.
Yeah, no,
you stuck
that was
with
like
it.
That didn't mean anything to us. It was just like this isn't our audience. That's the most important thing about business, knowing your audience. You can't expect everyone to support you. You shouldn't even want everyone to support you or to understand you.
Yep.
Period. I'm actually in the car with one of my friends, and she's an entrepreneur. She owns a cycling studio in Detroit called Live Cycle Delight. The Lip Bar has a pop-up right next to her space. Mm-hmm. And we always talk about like people want to look good, but they don't necessarily want to work out. And so like a lot of my customers don't go over and cycle in her studio, but also like, is my customer health conscious or are they beauty conscious, you know? And so it's a matter of really understanding who your customer is and like how to target them and why they shop with you.
How did you figure out who your target customer was? Was it a trial and error process, or did you have a picture in your mind who you were trying to market to and then you marketed to her or him?
I think for most businesses, it's a combination. So you can launch your business and say it's for this very specific customer, but then the people who show up and show out could be completely different. So you have to be flexible in that. But then when your customer shows you who they are, you can't abandon them. Like you have to market to them. And so I think our customers naturally came because I'm a Black woman. So a lot of my friends who were my first customers, they were promoting it. And it was like, oh, you know, she's creating these colors for women of color. And again, with our whole idea of challenging the beauty standard and creating these beauty standards that aren't linear, you know, we started using those ideas and our very reason for existing in everything that we did. So the products that we produce are governed by that idea, and the models that we use are governed by that idea. So we wouldn't ever produce new lipsticks and not include a color for dark-skinned women, because that's not true to our motto of saying like, oh, we're trying to make the beauty standard inclusive. And so with that being said, people who cared about that, they started rallying behind us and becoming our champions. Like, oh, well, the Lip Bar has colors for dark toned women because you can see it in their models or their imagery or in their messaging. So then they really took over and became like the more prominent customer. So I mean, we have customers who shop with us from a variety of backgrounds, but our core is women of color who believe in, you know, social justice. They want to be healthier. They're like Black girl magic, you know, they're those women.
Marketing and branding is definitely something also that a lot of people who are launching product-based companies have to get right. Because like if you can't get people to buy your product, then you have no business. What do you think was the biggest thing that you guys invested in order to make sure that you were actually acquiring and retaining customers?
So we've never spent money on marketing.
Really? Not even?
Not in the traditional form. Like we've bought like flyers. We've bought like T-shirts. And we do trade shows, but when we do trade shows, those are revenue producing.
Okay.
So we don't really work with a lot of influencers. We're not advertising on pages. Everything has been pretty organic. And I think the investment was in just being honest and being open and being transparent and not being afraid to say, this is who we are. So that's the investment.
Do you think that's sustainable as you guys are looking to scale, or do you think at some point you'll have to like put money into paid ads or do something to kind of
No, it's definitely not sustainable, but it's been a blessing to have allowed us to get to this point without that.
Definitely.
So right now we're about to launch in Target stores. And so,
oh, wow. Congratulations.
Yeah. In February, we'll be going into some Target stores, and I'm really excited. It's a lot of work. It's more work than I anticipated. But I think it'll all work out. But that's not a marketing strategy that we can use to support a big box retailer.
I was just thinking, episode 70 guest, Christia Donaldson. Have you heard of her? She runs the company TGIN. She's actually up in Chicago, and she was just talking about the whole Target, getting products in Target. No one tells you about all the steps that go into it, and there's just so many things that you have to get right. But that's definitely a huge step, and that's going to be a great, just being in stores is another marketing vehicle by itself, you know?
Absolutely. I mean, it's just brand awareness that you wouldn't have otherwise. You know, it's when people walk by, and obviously you don't want this to happen. You don't want for when you come in for your product, that to be the first time people are seeing your product.
Definitely.
But if it is, it's like, oh, wait, Target has a new brand. You know, it's like, wait a minute, Wavy, what is this? Their packaging is so cute. So
and your price point is Target too.
Yeah. You know, we dropped our price point. So when we launched, all of our products were $20 each. And so again, because I am true to my messaging of challenging that beauty standard, everything that we do within the brand goes back to that idea. Like, are we challenging the beauty standard? Are we doing what we said we would do? Because that's the only way your business will survive and thrive, is if you're true to yourself and you're true to your why. So one day I was thinking like, well, am I really challenging the beauty standard with the $20 lipstick? Like $20 is a lot of money. Like, what can I personally do with $20 kind of thing? And so also we believe that beauty shouldn't compromise health. So I started putting two and two together. Like, if I'm saying that we believe that your beauty shouldn't compromise health, and I believe that beauty should be inclusive, how inclusive is a $20 lipstick? Because at this point, it's a privilege. And so at that very moment, I made the decision to drop our price point like 40% to say, like, responsibly made cosmetics shouldn't be a privilege. And so when I did that, the response was so overwhelming. Like, it was crazy. And I didn't realize how powerful and how impactful it was. But literally our lipstick went from $20 to $12.
Wow. Did you have to make any sacrifices in any other part of the business?
Absolutely. My margins.
Okay. So it's not like you had to sacrifice on like products or like get cheaper stuff.
Well, we did. We got not the product. The product stayed the exact same. Actually, that's a lie. The products got better.
Really?
Because we started growing and I started being able to, request better stuff and negotiate and just be a little more ballsy in my request. Like, guys, no, this isn't happening. Yeah, it got better, but we did dumb down our packaging a little bit. So when the lip bar first launched, you would get this beautiful box and this tissue paper and this flyer and these lip bar ink pens, and the lipstick would come in a little velvet pouch.
Okay.
So all of that is pretty and it looks like a present, but none of it was actually necessary. And so, like, I love Spirit Airlines. I love Spirit Airlines. I'm the only person.
I was going to say, you're the only person I know.
First of all, they should be paying me, okay? They should be paying me.
Listen.
But I love Spirit. I love Spirit. And like this idea of the bear fair, because when you think about it, like, you need to think of your business as this bear thing. Like, what is the most important thing? And so when you think about Spirit, the most important thing is for you to get from point A to point B. That's it. And so I was just like, is it necessary to have all of this stuff? Absolutely not. The most important thing is you have this vegan, cruelty-free, sustainable lip color, made by awesome women, with awesome women in mind. That's what's important. And does all of this stuff mean that? No. So we cut stuff like that.
And I think a lot of people, when they start out, they get caught up in the stuff that doesn't matter, right?
Yeah.
It's like they want to have the prettiest website, but you have no product. You know, they want to have the prettiest logo, but you have no idea. And I love that you said that, because there are things that you can cut out and still be successful, because your customers, they may not care about that velvet pouch, but they want to make sure they have the lipstick, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
What's something though that, you know, as you have navigated this industry, something that has just been challenging that you wish more people knew when it comes to being a beauty entrepreneur?
I think the biggest thing that's specific to this industry is constantly trying to cater to this woman to make her believe that she is enough, when she doesn't necessarily believe it. And then to then watch her diminish that very quality by going to brands that don't care about her. That's the biggest challenge. That is the largest challenge, because it's like there are tons of Black-owned beauty brands who have been doing this for years, like supporting women and just like challenging the idea that beauty looks like a particular thing, and just being champions for women of color, just for like very large companies like Makeup Forever to be applauded when they come out with a dark shade. And it's like, why are we so hell bent on acceptance from other people when there are people right here in your community doing the exact same thing for you? And why don't you applaud them in the same way? With any business, like you just have to know that you're not always going to be appreciated. Your efforts aren't always going to be applauded. And you just got to have thick skin and roll with the punches. And also know that things are always going to go wrong.
I love
and
that.
And that's no matter the industry.
What's something that has went wrong for you guys, and how have you, and your team been able to remedy it?
What? Things are going wrong right now. Things are going wrong right now. Like this year, we've had a huge inventory problem, and it's impacting my sales greatly because we haven't been able to get our packaging. We had to, so Target, Target is a really big company. And when they work with small companies, they're basically like, look, you need us. And so they'll dictate a bunch of stuff. So they made us like change our packaging. Like they didn't want our liquid matte containers to have a pointed edge. They wanted it to stand up. They didn't want our products to have boxes. They wanted it to be shrink wrapped. And I'm like, but that's ugly. And they're like, but we're Target kind of thing. And I'm like, all right, that's true. So, we've had to make a ton of changes. And so when you make changes like that, structural changes, especially to packaging, that takes time. So we haven't had packaging in a very long time. And it takes months. It takes months for these things to be produced. It takes months. It takes a lot of capital. And I mean, just in its very nature of it taking a long time, if there are delays, that makes it even worse.
And you're working
so like
overseas,
right? Yeah, our actual container is made overseas, but the product is made in California.
Okay. You have to deal with customs and all that other stuff too.
And so delays. Like we've had a packaging delay for 4 months. It's horrible.
And you don't want to, you probably could get like in between packaging, but then that's going to sacrifice on your brand experience.
So we've had the exact same packaging since day one.
Okay.
Since day one, we've always had like this showstopper type, really intricate designed packaging. So we would never. Okay. We would rather just be out of stock.
Okay. And that's something that you then have to, once that impacts sales, you then have to make other decisions as well. So how do you then, how do you communicate that to your customers?
It's about keeping them in the loop. So today's customer is not a customer. They're your friends. So it's like, hey guys, yeah, Boss Lady is late again. Boss Lady is our bestseller in the whole company. And it's still like we get it in, we sell it out. It's a constant cycle. People are starting to know this now. So like we just had to like add a limit to the website because when it came back in stock, people were ordering 10. And it's like, y'all do not need 10 fucking Boss Ladies. Like how many lips do you have? Is it for gifts? Like what's happening? But yeah, it's just a matter of like letting them know like, oh, we thought we were going to get it in this day. Things went left. And then we make them mad at our manufacturers too. So now we all mad. Like, y'all mad, I'm mad. Trust me, I want you to have this lipstick more than you want you to have this lipstick. So, yeah, it's just always being open and honest.
I think this is a good segue for one of our listener questions, and it's actually about the lipsticks or the lip colors. This is coming from Road Tumor, and she says, I own 5 of the matte colors. Hopefully she didn't. And she said, they are beautiful or in multiple complexions. I would like to know, what is your process and passion behind your color choices?
So I get inspiration from a bunch of different places. Like, I could see a leaf and say, like, oh my God, that is a beautiful orange. And then go and mix it and then send it to our manufacturer for color matching. But we never produce a product that doesn't look good on at least 4 complexions. And I'm talking about like a light person, a medium light person, a brown person, and a dark person. So like, we like for our colors to transition to a variety of complexions, because you don't want to have that person in your store and they feel like your store isn't for them. That sucks, right? Because I mean, it's a beauty store, and then it's like, what are you saying? Are you saying that I'm not beautiful? Women hold so much self-value and self-worth in their looks, and it's really unfortunate, but you know, how do you fight it?
Would you
Sometimes
say
you got to be a part of it?
Because I know earlier in the interview you talked about how you are not a makeup girl, right? Like, it's not like you're somebody who's obsessed with wearing makeup. What has been the biggest challenge for you with being someone who's not a makeup person, but also running a makeup brand?
I don't think that's challenging at all. I think that's a benefit. I think I don't get really, really excited about it. I can focus on, you know, what's actually good for the business. Now, I do love lipstick and I wear it every single day, but I'm not like, you know, I'm not orgasmic about colors. I'm like, oh, this looks good. Yeah. And like, that's the extent of it. Some people expect me to be a makeup artist. And so, and sometimes people even look down on that, because most makeup artists create brands. They don't expect a girl who's going to say like, oh, I'm not passionate about makeup, to then have a makeup line. But for me, the product is secondary. It's more so about the message and that feeling and that emotion that you're invoking within the customer. And so for me, I want to invoke the message of, you know, beauty for all skin tones, and a beauty that isn't toxic, and, you know, beauty where you can feel comfortable about being yourself. So the lip bar isn't transformational. Like, we're not transforming your beauty. We're not all about contouring. If you want to contour, great. That's fine for you. I have nothing against it, but like, that's not the message that we push. We push the message of like, oh yeah, enhance your natural beauty. Add this little pop of color to be enough confidence that you'll have for the day.
So running a business, Melissa, I know it's hard, right? And we're always trying to balance all different parts of our lives. What's one of your a personal challenge that you've had to kind of work throughout building the lip bar?
Men have always been a challenge, because men say that they want strong and smart and women who have their shit together, but really they don't, because they don't know how to have that. They're like, oh, we want you to be strong, but don't be strong with me. Or we want you to be smart and have your shit together, but just remember that I'm the man because I got balls. And it's like, oh, that's nice. So that's a challenge. But I mean, it's just a matter of like, being with the right person who actually supports you and is a champion for your business and for you as a person. Because I mean, at the end of the day, aside from being a businesswoman, even if you're not a businesswoman, like, you have an ego too. Like, you have to be strong too. You have dreams and desires too. And just because you're a man, that doesn't mean that your dreams and desires are more important than mine.
That is so true. And I think it also goes to show that I do think I've heard that, you know, that dialogue too. And I think sometimes as female entrepreneurs, we want to tell ourselves that relationships don't matter. But at the same time, you want relationships, right? They do matter.
No, they matter. They totally matter. Yeah. I'm not that person who's just like, you know, Miss Independent. I don't want to be Miss Independent. I don't want that at all, but I want to have the right person in my corner. I want to be taken care of and spoiled just like anyone else. But, you know, I also want you to understand that I can do that for myself.
Yep. So what's next for the Lip Bar? Like, what are some of the things that you have in the works beyond Target, or just things for you personally that you're hoping, will come to fruition in the next year?
So we're releasing a lot more products. We're focusing on lips. I kind of struggled with the idea of should the lip bar expand, should the lip bar not expand? And I decided that we just need to own the lip category. So of course the Target thing is huge. We'll also be going into some other stores. I will keep you guys posted on that. We opened up a store in Detroit. So really like building that out. Personally, I am going to step into the brand a little bit. So for years, I really struggled with not being at the forefront of the lip bar because I didn't want the lip bar to be about me. I wanted it to be about the customer. I wanted everyone to not want to be me, but to be way more comfortable within themselves. But ultimately, it's hurting the brand because people want to know and people are excited and people are proud and people want to rally behind something. So I'm just going to step into it just a little bit.
So we're going to see you on the packaging. We're going to see you on the front of the website.
Yeah, a little bit of this, a little bit of that.
I mean, you definitely have a strong personal brand, like on Instagram. I definitely like your pictures. I know you guys, you went on a trip with your girlfriends this summer, right? And you guys went viral.
Yeah. And that was actually all my idea. So that made me happy. So those are my line sisters. It was our 10-year. And yeah, it was just like, oh, Sports Illustrated is always traditionally white. So like I came up with the idea of Melanin Illustrated and we all posed in our new swimsuits and it went crazy viral. Yeah. So that was awesome. Yeah. And I travel a lot. Like I went to Morocco by myself this summer. Completely by myself, Morocco and Barcelona, Spain. And that was awesome. Like that was my first time, like aside from China, which I don't think really counts because I was studying abroad. Mm-hmm. That was my first time like taking an extended, international trip by myself. And so, yeah, just sharing these little things that I do regularly, but I think would be beneficial for other people to know about or to hear so that they can also feel like they can do it.
What's your favorite business resource that you would recommend for our dream drivers?
Well, my favorite business book is The One Thing. It teaches you how to focus and it teaches you how to prioritize.
How has that helped your business?
I'm a scatterbrain. So it reminds me like do the one thing that is going to be the game changer. And so every day I time block from 6 a.m. until about 11. And I focus on what Melissa needs to get done. And what Melissa needs to get done is always the most important and prominent thing.
I love that. Let's go to our lightning round, Melissa. So this part of the interview, I'm going to give you a prompt and I want you to tell me the first word that comes to mind. And remember, we're sticking with our whole dreams and drive metaphor, okay?
Okay.
All right. So the first word is park.
Central.
Reverse.
Engine.
Neutral.
Sit.
Drive.
Ferrari.
Have you ever been in a Ferrari? I haven't.
I have. They're beautiful.
And if you want to be a dream driver, you have to have your keys to success. So Melissa, tell me 3 things that you think every dream driver needs in their toolkit before they hit the road.
Confidence, support, and focus. No. Can I have like a 3.5?
Yeah. You can have whatever.
All right. Belief. Like you need to believe in yourself and your idea.
What if you don't believe in yourself? I hear that a lot.
You won't make it. And that means that you're not passionate about it. I think if you're passionate about it, you will make it work.
Yep.
Whatever it is, you will make it work. You will find the right people. You will find the right resources. You will not stop. So the reason why we didn't stop after Shark Tank, it was just because we didn't believe them. We believed ourselves. And I was a wreck after Shark Tank. Like I was a wreck. Like, what are they talking about? Are they out of their
like when you walked out or just when you got home?
When we left. So it was me and my creative director, Roscoe, who has been with the Lip Bar since day one. I'm like the person who's like super aggressive and, I can be bitchy at times.
Mm-hmm.
And Roscoe is like super even keeled. And Roscoe was just like, Melissa, who are you right now? She was basically like, grow up, essentially. And I was just like, true. I mean, because that could really like be the thing that makes you stop. But it was just like a matter of like, I was so confused as to why they didn't believe it. And then I had to think about it like, yeah, they don't get to decide my future. I decide my future. So yeah, you just got to always decide that, you are the person who's in charge of your fate. So what's it going to be?
I love that. That's a perfect way for us to end. Melissa, can you tell our dream drivers where they can find you and the Lip Bar online?
Yep, thelipbar.com. And my website is melissarbutler.com.
And our social handles they can follow you at?
Yep, the Lip Bar is at the Lip Bar, TheLipbar. And my personal social handle is Melissa R. Butler, MELISSARBUTLER.
Thank you, Melissa.
Thank you so much.
All right, so that's a wrap for episode 119 with Melissa. I hope that you enjoyed hearing her dream driving journey as well as her keys to success. Remember, we are giving away the lipstick Merlot as part of our giveaway of the week. So if you want a chance to win the Lip Bar's Merlot shade, just go to dreamsanddrive.com/win. That's dreamsanddrive.com/win. And this contest will be running for a week. So if you want to enter, I suggest that you just pull up Safari, pull up whatever you use, internet browser, go to dreamsanddrive.com/win right now and enter before you forget. For today's show notes, just go to dreamsanddrive.com and click on episode 119. And if you are not already following us on social, what are you waiting for? We are Dreams and Drive across the board on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. And you can use the hashtag Dreams and Drive when sharing as well. Make sure that you are subscribed to us. That's so important wherever you're listening, whether it be Apple Podcasts, SoundCloud, Google Play, Stitcher, TuneIn, iHeartRadio. Hit that subscribe button so that you get notified every time we have a new episode. And make sure that you are also part of our Facebook group. I was saying before that we got really lit in the Facebook group last week. We had a whole bunch of new members, lots of new introductions. I want to keep that momentum going. So if you want to be part of our Dream Driver family, just go to dreamsanddrive.com/Facebook or just search Dream Driver Mastermind on Facebook the next time you are on. And a lot of people are always asking me, am I doing strategy sessions? Why am I only doing them for podcasters? So this week I decided to open them up. So I've added 2 more services. I also now do idea therapy. So those are more like brainstorming sessions. And we also have general marketing consultations. So if you want to work with me, need help working through a specific idea, you want someone to brainstorm with, you want to talk about your podcast strategy, now you can just go to one central page. That's dreamsanddrive.com/book. And you can see the session availabilities and just book right there on that page. That's dreamsanddrive.com/book. And I look forward to working with more people now that I have opened up my services. And remember, starting in 2018, my prices will not be this low. So go to dreamsanddrive.com/book to schedule a session today. This past week, I did my first Facebook Live, and I was so happy to see that I had people tuning in, people engaging, people watching the replay. I appreciate you all. And I want to say this to you. This whole podcast over the past 2 years has been me putting my own dreams in drive as well. So I have to thank you to every single one of you who's ever been a encouragement and inspiration and motivator to me. I know at times I'm always speaking to you all, so you may not always know your impact on me, but please remember and please know that just knowing that you guys are listening in every week and our numbers are going up every week, that matters a lot to me. And I just want to say thank you. Keep dreaming, keep driving. And next week, our guest is going to be Jamar Mills. And Jamar is going to talk all about how he was able to turn around some of the worst schools in New Jersey and really make education fun and something that kids look forward to. So we'll chat again in episode 120. Talk to you guys.